Well, welcome to Love Yourself Loudly. I'm your host, Perry, and I am so honored today. It's a new year. It's 2025 and new changes, new mindsets, new thought process, new vibes. I can't wait. So today I have a special guest, and I am so honored to bring him here because I know we had our little differences trying to get him here. I mean, we did good, but some things was going around. But I thank him again for coming and sit on this platform so we could talk about certain things that you guys want to hear, because I can't wait to hear. But today I just want to say welcome to Mr. Nakai. Oh, see guys,
okay.
I messed it up again.
No,
but
you're not the first. It's all good.
But I just want to thank Nakai for coming here. But how are you doing today? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Thank you so much for having me on the platform. So good to see you. Got you happy belated birthday. And
thank you.
2025. Oh my gosh. Like, I'm so ready to leave 2024 behind. It was good, but like, girl, we moved on from her. So I'm just really excited. I'm really curious what you got to ask. So for those of you who don't know, I am a medium. I'm a psychic. So what that means is I channel past loved ones or, just other things of that nature on the other side for the people that I do readings for. And we'll talk more about that as the episode goes on. But yeah, I'm just excited to jump in. So let's do it.
You're excited. I'm excited because I can't wait to ask you these questions.
Also, want to shout out the fact she's wearing red. I'm wearing blue. That was uncoordinated, but still equally cute.
So let's dive into this because I've been thinking a lot of what to ask you because, I just want to make sure that these questions that I ask that maybe the audience might be thinking the same way as well. So my first question is that how did you first discover your ability as a medium?
So it's kind of a little bit of a complicated answer.
Okay.
So there was one moment where I actually knew what was going on. So 2 years ago, my mom actually found like a psychic and a medium, and she was like, I really think you should meet her. Like you should, get together, like do your thing. And so I had a phone call with her, and I was just explaining to her after she had like channeled some things for me, and I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like, you know way too much about my life. Like very specific things about people that had like passed on for me, like down to the smallest mannerisms.
Okay.
I was like, oh, you're legit.
Wow.
And I was like telling her some of my experiences, and she was just like, you're psychic, right? I was like, girl, what are you talking about? I was like, I don't have that gift that you do. Like we were talking some more, and I was telling her some of the things that like I'd felt and dealt with in my life, and like she's like, that's not normal. So like when it comes to like feeling people's emotions and stuff like that, like I thought I was just like really in tune with like how people feel, like I would understand them. Turns out I was feeling things for them. Turns out it's not normal to know things before they happen sometimes and not just call that intuition. So that was a big thing, and I was like, oh, okay. And so from that point on, that's when I really recognized it as what was happening. I had like a term to put to it. But before that, there was a lot of things that happened to me, like when I was a kid, and certain things I would say that would kind of like spook my family members a little bit. And they're like, that's a little weird for a 2-year-old to say. And just like I would see certain things, and I had to learn to kind of keep it to myself because when I would talk about it to someone, they would be like,
they were looking at you crazy.
Yeah, they're like, there's no one there. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not going to talk about this anymore.
So you kept it to yourself?
Oh yeah, for pretty much my entire life up until I was like 27 or 26.
Are you serious?
Yeah, literally from like 5 to then.
So how do you sleep?
It was hard.
Oh my God. So you had the light on, or did you?
I used to sleep with the light on when I was a kid for a really long time, until I started to like see things like at night in my room, and I would get more used to the fact that like those things would happen, and that didn't scare me as much anymore.
Okay.
And I was able to sleep like with the light off. But this is all like processing I had to do by myself.
God, that's
just thought it was
amazing.
normal,
That's crazy. So they never really like say crazy things to you at night, like, you know, go out there. You know how some people, they say that they hear some stuff and they tell them, oh, they told me to go out there and kill this person.
Right.
Or
No.
They didn't do none of that to you, right?
None of that. No.
Oh, okay. But they'll come and talk to you and say, hey, listen, tell this person this, X, Y, and Z when you see them.
Sort of. So it didn't start out that like direct. Like a lot when I would go to sleep at night, like I would see like weird shadowy figures like standing in front of my door.
Okay.
But it was never like solid. Like it was almost like when you swear you see something move out the corner of your eye.
Mm-hmm.
It was like that, and then when I would look at it, it would just kind of like disappear, and that was really interesting. And then when I would see a lot of things, or like I would understand things as they were like about to happen, it's like it would happen in that in between falling asleep and being awake kind of state, where like you're lucid but you're not entirely asleep.
Wow.
And that was when I would get impressions of things that would happen in my life, and then those things would very quickly like come to happen. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. But I was like, it's just a dream, right? Turns out it wasn't. So do spirits ever have a sense of humor or share a funny message? Oh my God, yes. Yes, absolutely. That is one of the biggest things that they like really will come through when they transition to the other side. That is like, a lot of times if they've had like a really hard life, they will come through with such a sense of like humor and like levity that they want me to communicate to the person that I'm reading. And it just really kind of validates like inside jokes, like things like that, stuff that only they could know, but in a very like humorous sense. I don't know what it is, but they definitely pick up a bigger sense of humor on the other side. Yeah, and it's really nice. Yeah, it just keeps things light.
That is so cool. Do you ever have any fear of death?
No. Yeah.
Because the way they register this stuff to you, you just feel like it's okay.
I do. I feel like it's okay. I think me really young would have been really afraid, but I just know that in my own personal belief and experience that this isn't the end, and that there's truly so much more than we know and than I even know. So no, I don't fear.
So I know there's another question that someone asked me to ask you, because sometimes they're getting confused between medium and psychic.
Yes.
Is a medium and a psychic are the same thing, or is it two different?
So they are two different things.
Okay.
Yes. So usually if you are a medium, like you are a psychic. So a psychic is someone who can get information channeled to them from whatever source they're connecting to.
Okay.
And that could be information like, you know, your random small stuff like, oh, you're going to be moving to XYZ city in a few years. You know, that could be a psychic. But a medium is someone who is able to connect to people who are on the other side and deliver message, truly like a medium in between two different sides of like spirit and anything that they have to say. So if you're a medium, you are a psychic, but you can be psychic and not a medium. So yeah,
because the medium is more powerful than the psychic.
They just have a little bit of a different gift, yeah. And so usually when you have that mediumship gift and ability, it comes in tandem with being a psychic.
That's so amazing. So there was another question, because it's part of the medium, the psychic, because someone else was asking about, because they're saying like voodoo. Is that part of it too, or no?
No, that's and that's where it's just kind of it's a cultural thing. Voodoo.
Because everybody's getting confused between medium, psychic, voodoo, because it feels like it's all in the same pyramid.
No, yeah, so people love to do that, like, you know, voodoo with the occult, like all this stuff. I'm just like, girl, no, like this is so not what I do. But like voodoo is a very specific like cultural view of spirituality, you know, and that it's energy work. And I'm not going to dive too into it because exactly, but no, they are not the same thing. Yeah, you can be a psychic medium who is a practicer of like voodoo, but like that's a different ball game.
That's
a different ball game.
That's like somebody who want to dive in deeper into that entity. Like, let me just go a little bit more, which sometimes I feel like certain people, when God give you a gift, because, you know, I know people getting confused between the, you know, the universe, God, because to me, I feel like it's all in the same the same pyramid. But I feel like sometimes if God give you a gift to do this, it's not good just to bounce in to try some other things. I mean, sometimes people just looking at the money aspect. Oh, if I do this, I can make more money. And sometimes you put yourself in the wrong direction. and then now you start losing certain things, or you losing loved ones, because that's for the things that I've been hearing and seeing, just because you want to dive in deeper when God only gave you a specific task for you to do, and you couldn't even work on that task, and then you just merge to the other side just because you feel like something else is there, or you could make fast money and whatever the case might be. But far as for you in the medium, so let me just ask you this question. So can anyone develop mediumship ability, or is it something you born with?
So from my experience and what I've realized in the mediums that I've talked to, mediumship seems to be an inherent gift and ability that you have. I do believe that we all have some sort of level of intuition and like psychic ability for that if you dig deep enough and far enough. Like truly I believe that gut feeling that we have is yourself trying to get a message from you on the other side, because I believe there's a connection from where we are physically and then your spirit. Okay. That is something that I believe we all have. An intuition of like, I don't know, this doesn't feel too right to me, or I don't know, like I feel like I need to go here because XYZ. Like that I believe totally like an ability of psychic ability. As far as mediumship goes, it does seem to be a little bit on the more uncommon side.
Okay.
And it does seem to be a little bit more inherent, because I never really trained or practiced. I didn't even know what I was experiencing growing up. It just happened, and how can you do that if you didn't have that already, right? And I've been asked that question before. You definitely, if you do this as a profession, like if you decide to use your gift professionally, you do learn more and how to develop and hone what you have, but it does seem to be that mediumship is a bit more of a gift. Yeah.
Has your gift ever been a burden or a challenge to manage?
Yeah.
It does?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question, actually. That's a big one, and probably the biggest lesson I really had to grapple with all of this. To kind of put it succinctly, is that mediumship seems to be something that you can never really turn off, but you can turn it down. And the hardest thing about that is feeling all the things from everyone around me all the time can be very overwhelming. And especially like if I'm in a crowd, like I don't go to concerts often, like I don't go to like sports games often, because it's just constant bombardment of energy and what other people are dealing with around me. And that it's easy to lose sight of yourself and your own emotions and figure out, where do my emotions stop and start, and where are everyone else's, and like what messages are meant for me and what's just this random person passing me on the street.
Do you I'm sorry for cutting you off, but do you ever like walk into a grocery store or something like that, and then the spirit will be like, hey, tell this person right next to you, oh, you have?
Yeah. And I don't, because that can be very off-putting for some people.
So you challenge your spirit, be like, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah, you have to have boundaries with them, just like you do in the physical world. And that's so weird to like try to explain to people, but genuinely, like, imagine you and I are trying to have a conversation, and there's no one like physically that I see like with my own two eyes, but imagine like, when you feel someone else in the room, like someone else is in the room, but you can't see them. And they're like trying to shout at you and get your attention and be like, hey, look at me, notice me. And I'm just like trying to talk to you.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to draw boundaries with them. Yeah.
So that's mean that person that you could have told them that story, that's mean they just missed out.
Not necessarily.
No.
So there is a fine line of how do I balance what is mine to decide, like what right do I have to decide what messages get delivered to people, but also just because the message is coming through, it doesn't necessarily mean that person is in a place in their life to hear that. And imagine trying to be in the grocery store and you're trying to pick out some chicken breast or something like that, and all of a sudden your dead grandma wants to come through, and that could put someone in a tailspin.
You know what, you're right. You're totally right.
It
because
really
especially if that person didn't have that opportunity to say goodbye to their loved ones or whatever the situation. Yeah, you're right. Then you would have them have a panic attack.
Exactly.
You're totally right.
Yeah. It could reignite a lot of grief that people hadn't processed. And some mediums do that. I think that's
because I do see some of them be popping up. It's like, excuse me.
Yeah.
I see this, and they're coming to you. I'm like, what? Okay, I did had one lady came and stopped me at the grocery store. at first I was thinking she was crazy, and she was like, "Oh, I see something for you. I see someone came and told me to, something." She was just telling me that someone told me to tell me that I need to learn how to stay quiet and stop telling everybody about my business and stuff. And I'm like, sweetheart. I turn around, I was like, but I know who usually talk like that, because I have one relative that always told me to like shut up, like
Right.
stop running your mouth. So when she said that, it took me a minute. So I think when I sat in the car and I was like, okay, I was like, that's weird, because I know only one person usually talked to me like that. But for her to come tell me that you barely don't even know who I am, and I wasn't even talking, I was just walking to my car, and for you to tell me, oh, well, this person told me to tell you that you need to continue to learn how to shut up.
Right.
And I'm just like, what? She's like, yeah, she just told me to tell you that you need to be quiet on the things that you're doing, because you're running your mouth too much. I'm like, girl, bye.
Right.
But then when I sat in my car, and I was like, oh my gosh, she actually tapped into her. So I was like, so I didn't ever turn around and say anything like, oh my gosh, come back over here. I just say, okay, you know what? Maybe I do need to like
You
be
just let it
quiet.
happen.
And I just like sit down and think. But sometimes, I did cry. I'm not gonna lie, I did cry, because I know who it is. Because then you start feeling different. You feeling the warmness around your body.
You
and
feel that warmth.
like,
Absolutely.
and it was like, oh my God, why it feels like that? It feels like something heavy on you, like someone is just, I don't know, it's like it feels like someone's trying to hug you,
Like
or anything.
physically there.
And then you start crying, and you could feel like, and then you could tell like, okay, I know this feeling. And then you just, I mean, like you said, everybody has a different gifts. I don't really talk about my gifts. I don't really talk about,
You're pretty intuitive from what I've
I
seen
don't
and the
really
experiences
talk
we've
about
had.
it,
Yeah.
but I have some people like, that will come in to come visit, the doctors or whatever the case might be, and sometimes it will tap into me and say this. And it's like in the heat of the moment, and then I would just start speaking and saying blah 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 blah, and then people would be like, oh my gosh, or they will end up crying, or whatever the situation might happen at that moment. Or sometimes I basically kind of save their life in that moment. So whatever thought process they were thinking, if it was negative, I kind of switch it up and trying to make it think positive. And it's so crazy to me, and I'm like, who am I? Like, do I have that or do I don't? Because I don't really I didn't have an opportunity to go speak to a medium to find out. Like for you, it was a shocking moment to have you here, and especially in the state of Florida.
Right.
Because I don't really see mediums in the state of Florida. They're usually up north, so it's like you guys like to be in the cold, but for you guys.
And that's where I lived before this.
You see, so for you to come here in the heat, it was just like, that was weird. So I was like, I have to get you on this platform, because I need you to, explain to people, are you like the same thing as a medium or a psychic? But at the same token, it's helping me as well for me to find out what do I have within me, because by me listening to you, because when you said as a kid, yes, when I was a kid, I usually see, dark shadows on the chair, and I used to get scared because I used to tell my mom, what is that over there in the living room? And I couldn't sleep. She couldn't, and then I had to be like laying on the bed, keep my eyes open through the whole entire night, because every time when you close it, you could actually see, or you see them standing up or walking around.
You
and
feel the pressure sometimes.
Yes, or sometimes you might feel the bed, like someone is touching the bed, or like leaning on it, or sometimes you can feel like someone's pushing you. Like,
and you're not crazy. That was really happening.
Okay, so I'm just like, what the crap is this? But sometimes when these things do happen for me, it's like they're telling me, hey, listen, there's something's going on. And kid you not, anytime I do get a push or anything, I always end up finding something. Or sometimes I could be driving. I mean, like, I'm not trying to say like I'm crazy or anything, but in the younger days, when I was doing some stuff, and when you had like ex-boyfriends and they were trying to cheat on you, and they be trying to go on their little sneaky side, and the next minute it's like the spirit guide is directing me to the right location. And sometimes my exes would be like, how the crap can you find me here? Because for one, there was no cell phones,
there was no Find My, none
nothing.
of that.
And then I always end up catching them. And it's just so weird. And sometimes people are like, you're sick, so it's just like, no, I don't even know how I end up here, so stuff like that. I kind of be like, you know what, maybe I should cherish those gifts, because like you said, not a lot of people get them, and anybody could tap into it, but like you said, sometimes when you're born with it, that's not something anybody could take away from you.
Never.
But sometimes people will try to mess up your soul and your spirit just to tap into it. But yeah, you could,
because they feed on that.
Correct. And sometimes people don't understand. Now I see why when they say when you have a gift, you got to cherish your gift. You can't just give everybody what you have. And sometimes people, you thinking they have great energy, but their energy is very powerful and very and then they will suck you dry. And sometimes you be standing, you be like, well, I feel so weak and tired.
You walk away from them and you're like, whoa, I need to take a nap or something.
You get what I'm saying? And then I kind of noticed that when you take a lot of naps, which is not good, because sometimes when people take all your energy and you're sleeping a lot, it's like sometimes you have to learn how to recharge yourself and trying to get your energy back where it needs to be, and trying to move on with your life and trying to do better. But sometimes it takes months and years for you to get that back,
or even recognize it, like what is happening. And I think that really goes back to your earlier question of just like that spectrum of psychic gift and like ability. That is something that as an open-minded person that you were able to recognize that and kind of follow your intuition in the messages that you were getting. But now imagine if someone isn't that way and they're holding all of that in, and that's when you get people who are so drained, so tired, so just left with nothing because they've surrounded themselves with people who just take from them all the time, and it's just, you can't help but try to give some compassion to those people because they're themselves not necessarily bad people. I don't believe that, but they are a victim of bad circumstances and the people that they've let into their lives. So
let me ask you a question, because I know some people, who has lost their loved ones, and, they just want to know certain things, even though they can't find a medium. So what advice would you give to someone who wants to connect with their loved ones who have passed?
Yes. So the number one thing I always tell my clients is you don't always need a medium to talk to your past loved ones. They're around us all the time. They're always here. Talk to them as if they were in the room, because they are. And just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not listening. You'll be very surprised by how some of the readings I've done where I will bring a message through and it'll be a conversation that my clients and their family were having the night before I did the reading. And they're like, that's wild that you knew that. I was like, that's just to validate that your mom was in the room with you and she was listening, But I think that's the biggest thing. Go to the places that they love to visit. Do the things they love to do. Listen to the music that they loved. All of those things that bring you back to the love and the joy that they left you with. That is what really can be the most powerful connection to the people that you lost. And that's when you'll feel them the most. And that's when you'll get all those signs. So that would be my advice. If you don't have a medium that you're able to readily connect to, just act as if they really were still here. Not to make yourself delulu, I'm not trying to tell you that, but genuinely, they are still with you, and doing some of their favorite things will be the biggest help for that connection.
You hear that, guys?
What do you think?
So, are there certain spirits or energies that are easier or harder to connect with?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, there are some people who kind of come through super strong and like a waterfall, and they're just like, I got so much to say. They take up all the space. And then some people are very quiet and timid when they come through on the other side. And I only get like one or two impressions. And it really is a spectrum of like how they were in life and then how they present themselves on the other side, So they really still maintain that sense of individuality. Even as they pass on,
Really?
they sure do, yeah. And so it kind of, sometimes it makes it easier to connect that way when they are super ready to, say what they want to say.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So how many years you been doing this?
Professionally?
Professionally.
Yeah, I would say I'm going into my second year now.
Congrats.
So thank you. But I would do like random things for friends for like a few years now. But it was never something I like took seriously or got paid to do. But yeah.
But now you're bringing out there on the surface.
Exactly. Yeah. Now I'm like, you can book an appointment with me. You can do the thing. Like people get referred to me all the time, and that's how it is now.
Well, I'm definitely going to get you in one of my events.
Okay. Oh no, yeah. Well, we will make it happen. It's just the first can't work. Yeah,
I know. So
work,
I'm gonna listen. If whenever I will able to get him to my next event, I will definitely post that on my Instagram, which is called Love Yourself Loudly with Perry. But another question, because I'm just so curious with this medium, because it's
all the questions.
It's just so amazing just to, like, you already kind of demonstrate between the medium, the psychic, and the voodoos and stuff like that. And with the medium, even though with the loved ones and how me and you are connecting right now, guys, just want to put it out there. Just like, did you feel anything right now at this moment in this podcast?
In this moment in this podcast, not right now.
That's good.
Yeah, so nothing. There definitely, what you guys don't know is we tried to do this before, and a lot came through then in the first podcast. But no, this time, this space kind of feels like it's just for us. Yeah.
See that?
We're all good there. No one trying to butt in this time. Thank you.
But when I do have this event, I will definitely, if you guys do come and participate, and he will be there. He will give a little bit more of his business, what he does, and he might give a quick little reading.
You might get a reading, so be open-minded,
and don't be afraid.
Right.
If it's you, just raise your hand. Don't miss the moment. Or sometimes I know people do get scared.
They do.
And they'll be like, is it me, or is it? It's like you're at church. You'll be like, oh, please come pull forward. You're like, oh my gosh, I feel the warmness, but I don't know if I need to come up. But
chances are it's you.
Exactly. So if it's you, just don't be afraid to step up to him, and he will pull you to the side. Or if you want him to broadcast it to everyone, because people wants to know, and be so nosy, be like, I want to know what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but if you want to be private, just let him know, and he doesn't have any problem to pull you to the side to talk to you. And if you want to go further, that's between you and him, and I don't have no say-so into this. But other than that, please, right now for this reading, where do you want them to meet you at?
So you can meet me at my Instagram.
Okay.
You can find me there. That's at Nikkai, Nikkai.h. You can book an appointment with me there. There's a little book now button that'll bring you to my Square website. Doesn't cost anything to book an appointment, and we can set something up. My phone number's on there. Feel free to text me. Don't call it, because I'm not going to answer, but you can text it. But yeah, that's where you can find me. I do most of my readings virtual, like FaceTime or over the phone. I do meet with people in person, like if you're in the South Florida area. But what I want people to know is that the messages, regardless if it's over FaceTime, Zoom, in person, the messages come through just the same.
Okay.
And but I also want to recognize that it is a very unique experience that people don't get to do all the time. So if you do want to do something in person and you really want to get that up front, totally understand that too. So
okay.
Yeah.
So then I have if you link down below on my Instagram or on my YouTube channel, I am having if anybody wants to donate, because I'm doing this Love Yourself Loudly for women who has any situations with, with home, families. If anybody wants to donate, every event that I bring out, whatever the amount of money that I have, I will give it to someone special in that event, whoever has any situation that's going on. But I will have all the link down below. If you are interested to donate, please feel free to do. And when you do, I want to say thank you. But just keep watching. There's going to be a lot of things going on, a lot of free things I'm giving away. Please don't forget to follow me, like, subscribe. I'll be gladly appreciate you doing this for me, not for me, but for you.
Yes.
And I want to say thank you so much at Love Yourself Loudly. I'm your host, Perry.
I'm Nikkai. Thank you.
And you have yourself a wonderful day.
All right.
Bye.
Oh, that was awesome.